Welcome to the show. Yes. Thank you for joining me. This is Explosive Growth. I got an incredible guest today. We're going to discuss how he turned 10 grand into 7 milli in 13 years. And we're going to discuss his strategy, how he did it, how you can do it too. Let's bring him right on. Hey, Mariusz, how's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me. A very nice intro.
Oh, man, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you spending the time with us today, talking about your story of wealth creation, how you made a $10,000 investment into $7 million. And I would love to hear about that. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's talk about your story.
Yeah, so I focus on an area in the stock market that is not very well known to people. I focus on small micro cap companies that are trading on secondary exchanges. And what I mean by secondary exchanges is not like NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. It's because those companies are too small or they're not developed enough. They sometimes will trade on secondary exchanges such as Toronto Stock Exchange Venture or Canadian Stock Exchange or OTC, which is over the counter. And then when they become big enough, they might graduate to NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. But I focus on this area because the financial industry hates this area. They say, it's toxic, it's penny stocks, don't touch it, it's too risky. And they are mostly right that about 80 to 90% of the companies that trade there are toxic and you shouldn't touch. But then there's gems that are real businesses with real solutions, with real clients that have something special to them. And then with good management, a lot of times owning a lot. And you can find those before everybody else finds them. And you can, you do your due diligence. And because the financial industry doesn't want you to go there, you have very little competition. So you can acquire those things very cheaply. And if you're right, you can create life-changing returns.
Okay, so you hit a bunch of great topics. What is the benefit of being on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange? Why do I care if I'm a company and I'm listed on the NASDAQ or I'm not listed on the NASDAQ? Why do I care?
Well, because NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange are the two most famous exchanges. And so any company that can be listed there has access to capital, access to investors' capital, right? So it's not like just because you're trading on NASDAQ, you made it and you're untouchable. No, it's you have the potential to access more money, and that's important.
Got you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about these penny stocks. And you said you can buy them very cheaply. What exactly do you mean by cheap? Are these like 1 cent, 2 cents? What are the prices?
Well, okay, so since you're in real estate, let's put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a $1 million home, right? Luxury home. Maybe luxury homes sell for more, but let's just say $1 million.
I got some right now for sale if you're interested.
There you go. So you have a $1 million home, and let's say there is no loan on it, pure cash. That would be, and if that home was trading on a public exchange, in other words, you and I could buy shares, the market capitalization or market cap of that home would be $1 million. And if there was one share only, then one share would be trading for $1 million.
Yeah.
But if you have 10 shares, then each share would be trading for $100,000, right? Now, if you had 1 million shares, then each share would be trading for $1, right? And now, in the financial world, anything that's trading for less than $5 is considered a penny stock, okay? And it has this negative connotation. But now, if we're looking at that home that's worth $1 million, is that home in general worth anything less just because it has more shares? Or or each share is trading for less than $5 and it's considered a penny stock. No, it doesn't matter what the price of a stock is, whether it's trading for 10 cents, $5, $30. What matters is what's behind that stock. So, if I have a business that has real customers, real solution, then I'm interested in that business. I don't care how many shares there are or whether the shares are trading. It's as Warren Buffett would say, price is what you pay for something and value is what you get. So price is what you pay, value is what you get. I'm interested in value. So the cheapness of anything is always in relation to value. Value either today or value what is going to be in the future. Because I could buy a very nice luxury home that's finished and it has a value, a retail value, but maybe I could buy an unfinished home that's in construction and I can get a better deal because it's not finished yet, right? So but just because it's not finished doesn't mean it's worthless, right? I'm looking at what is it going to cost to have it finished and what is it going to retail for when it's finished. So there's different ways of looking at values.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, so from what I understand, you're looking for undervalued stocks where the price you're going to pay is less than that actual value of that stock.
That's
and
right.
How do you identify that?
Right. So sometimes I might identify it based on what is the business generating today, and what is it worth today, and what is the business going to be worth maybe that's, let's say, 5 years down the road, because they have a new product that's gaining traction. So maybe 5 years down the road, maybe the business is going to be worth 100 million, but if I'm paying for it 10 million today, then there's some alpha that I can create. And especially with the smaller companies, a lot of times it's the future that's valuable, not necessarily today, because those smaller companies, you can view them as not adults but teenagers that are going to become something.
Yeah. And so what are you using for your security analysis? How are you finding these undervalued companies? How do you assess whether a company is going to be worth 100 million 5 years from now? There's a lot of what ifs.
Yeah. So for example, to find them, I will look at every company on that exchange. Like, for example, Canadian Stock Exchange only has like 700 companies listed. That's it. And like I said, 90% of them are trash. So that's quickly. I look at it. They're looking for gold. No, thank you. They have cure for cancer. No, thank you. Like, it's pretty easy. I'm looking for real businesses that have that already have revenues. Like, because if a business, most of the time I'm looking for a company that has revenues, because if it has if it has the revenues, that shows me that they are already solving somebody's problem and somebody is willing to pay them money for solving the problem. Companies with no revenues, it's a little harder because it's a bunch of promises. But let me give you an example again of a company that I'm involved in right now, which you will definitely relate to. The name of the company is Voxtur. And I will only talk about one business unit that they have. In real estate, you and I know that in order to complete the transaction, and I used to be a real estate appraiser, so I know real estate better than a regular person. You and I know that in order to complete a transaction, you need title insurance, right? Title insurance.
Absolutely.
And depending on the state, because title insurance is regulated by the states, but it can run like 1% of the purchase price, or 3,000 to 5,000. I mean, it costs that much to get a title insurance. And on April 6th of last year, there was a new product introduced called Attorney Opinion Letter, which is an alternative product to AOL. And it was actually approved by Fannie and Freddie. You can look it up. Fannie and Freddie Attorney Opinion Letter, AOL. And that company, Voxtur, was the one that developed this product, and it took them like 5 years to get it passed. And now that product is being distributed all over all 50 states, and it's just gaining traction. Some banks are signing up. The cost of title insurance versus AOL. AOL is like $800 versus title insurance is like $5,000. So now I'm looking at all of the clients that are signing up for this, because now in real estate we have a problem. The interest rates are going up, so the lenders, banks, their volume just plummeted. So now those parties are looking for ways to increase their volume, and they're looking for ways to be more competitive. So if you're a bank and you are introduced a product like AOL, attorney opinion letter, and you can go to your buyers and you can be like, hey, our closing costs are much lower if you use us, because we can use AOL versus insurance. That's a very good selling point. So now that that product is gaining adoption, barely anybody knows about it. The company is trading on a secondary exchange. Very soon it's going to uplist from Toronto Stock Exchange Venture to Toronto Stock Exchange, and hopefully in 2024 it will be on NASDAQ. And when that happens and there's going to be more adoption, the stock is going to explode. And at some point, individuals like yourself, you're going to hear about AOL, because you probably haven't heard about it, but very soon you're going to hear about it, because it's going to steal some market share, and it's going to be just an alternative product. So this is just an example of a company that I'm involved in.
That's very interesting. I've never heard of an AOL, an attorney opinion letter. But, let me be the devil's advocate. I mean, if I'm buying a house and I get an attorney opinion letter, I'm not going to want that I'm not going to want that instead of title insurance, because I'm buying a house. What if there's a title claim?
It's the same thing.
I need insurance.
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, because the product is insured. Like there's an insurance wrapper around it. So, I mean, there's a reason why it was accepted by Fannie and Freddie.
Okay.
Like, read up about it. It's
I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you see, it was accepted by Fannie and Freddie because that acceptance was hugely important, because when a mortgage gets created in the primary market, most of the time it gets resold in the secondary market. Yeah. Well, the reason why it had to be approved by the Fannie and Freddie guidelines was so that attorney opinion letter travels with the mortgage, when it goes from primary to secondary. And especially for refis, it's gaining a lot of traction for refis, because in order for the refi to happen, the interest rates have to drop as a certain amount in order for the refi to make sense. But if you use AOL instead of title insurance, you don't have to have that drop to be that big. So it triggers the refis much faster. That's why it's gaining traction. But have a look at it, and because you have experience in real estate, there's a bunch of articles already written about it. But you'll understand it more.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. So going back to your strategy on these penny stocks, do you ever pick losers?
Absolutely.
You ever pick companies that they just don't make it?
Absolutely. It's part of the game, Okay. If you think about yourself as a business, you're a business, right? You're a real estate agent. You're a business, and if every real estate agent was a publicly traded company, some of them would be successful and others would not be successful, right? It's just just that So I mean, to how would I say, to limit the losses, you cannot completely eliminate them, but to limit the losses, I try to focus on. I learned this from Warren Buffett. To focus on businesses that have something like a business that maybe is a recurring business, that revenues don't start from zero on January. Something that maybe it's a business where clients have a hard time switching from one product to another. Business that is either has some kind of brand name or is developing that brand name. I also do more research on those companies. So I will get on the phone and I will call research and call clients, and I will ask the clients, why are you using this service versus somebody else? What's so special about it? Why aren't you going with the bigger company? Why are you going with the smaller company? So then you start to learn, some of the things that are special about this business. But even with this kind of research, you will have losers, and you just have to know that and position yourself accordingly. Don't put all your money in, one stock. Position yourself in a way that when you lose on some, you're not being taken out of the game.
Do you hold on to these companies forever, or do you liquidate them at some point in time after you hit a certain return on your income? I mean, after you hit a certain rate of return, do you liquidate, or some of them, like Warren Buffett believes in,
Never
when
sell.
I invest in a company, I'm married for life, or I'm prepared to be married for life?
No, I mean, I hold them, I would say on average 5 to 7 years, because it takes time for businesses to, to be successful. I mean, think about yourself. You didn't become successful in what you do overnight. It took you years. Right?
Right?
So
a lot of new realtors think
it's
overnight.
Yeah, exactly. They see the car you're driving and they think they can do it in 6 months, right? It doesn't happen. So, I mean, the same thing for businesses. It takes time to get going. It takes time, especially for the younger businesses. If, let's say, they have a product, like I just said, AOL, it takes time to get accepted. Adoption takes time. It takes time to get clients. But people in investing and also in life, they overestimate how much they can do in 1 year, but they underestimate how much can be accomplished in 10 years.
You're absolutely right. That is a great saying. I love that. A ton of people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And that's a great way to look at things. So what is your strategy right now? Are there any hot companies you're looking at? Are you doing research? Is it being a little difficult right now with the market turning, the interest rates rising?
Well, right now, the market has been horrible. Because we went from I took 10,000 to 7 million, and then I'm probably down 4 million in this market, right? So horrible. But that's part of the journey. The volatility on these smaller companies is part of the journey. And when the market turns, people panic on those smaller companies more than they panic on bigger companies. But we went from, what did we go from? In 2021, like middle 2021, the market was euphoric. Interest rates were low. I mean, think about this. People were investing in crypto, worthless crypto. They were buying pictures of monkeys, right? NFTs. And they were telling me that picture of monkeys, they were a status symbol. So I'm like, okay, you guys are absolutely nuts. And then for the crypto, I remember when I told them I wouldn't touch anything crypto, they were like, well, you buy crypto to protect yourself against inflation. I'm like, hold on a second. You want me to buy something worthless today so that I can protect my money from being worthless? Like, are you insane? Like, you want me to buy something completely worthless so that my money doesn't become worthless? You guys are nuts. But that's what we went. We went from people buying worthless things and saying they were going to go to the moon. And now, after, they were sent to the slaughterhouse, and everybody is paying the price for their stupidity, because when liquidity leaves all the asset classes. And now we are in a situation, especially with real estate going up, all you hear is recession. All you hear is interest rates going up. So now people went from buying worthless things to people not wanting to buy valuable things. Okay. Yeah. During the COVID, when it comes to stocks, what were they telling me? Buy Amazon stock because people are going to stay at home and order online. Buy Netflix because people are going to stay at home and watch Netflix. Buy Zoom because people are going to stay at home and do Zoom calls. Right. Yeah. And now it's like, don't buy anything because we're going to go into recession. It's like just as crazy as the other way. And if I were to bring it to the real estate market, it was like this. In 2021, you want to buy a house, and the seller says, let's say the price of a house is $100,000. The seller says, well, but there's a pool in the back. Oh, you're like, oh, okay, I'll give you 110. The seller says, but there's a pool in the back. But there's a pool in the back. Like, you're like, okay, you already freaking told me that. How many do you think I'm going to pay you $1 million for your house just because you told me that there was a pool in the back 50 times? It doesn't work like this. I'll pay you 110 and that's it. Right? Now, today, the analogy is like, you're selling a house, and then they'll say, well, but the interest rates are going up. Okay. But the interest rates are going up. Okay, so do you want me to pay you to take my house just because the real estate prices are going up? Just because interest rates are going up? Just because interest rates are going up? Just because there's a recession? Just because we repeat these things 1,000 times does not mean that assets or companies or stocks are worthless. Okay? That doesn't mean that.
Absolutely.
It's okay. But that's where we are today. So because we are in this environment, it's an incredible time to buy stuff because nobody wants to buy them, right? And going back to real estate again, it's easy when I always tell people, okay, if you're buying a house, would you rather have 2 people bidding on the house, or would you rather have 100 people bidding on the house that you want to buy? Oh, they're like, oh, I don't want any competition. Then, okay, so when you're buying stocks, why don't you want to buy them when nobody else wants to buy them? Why do you want to buy them when everybody on CNBC is telling you that they're going to go up? See, it's so obvious when you put it in those terms, but people do not understand how to act because stocks have ticker symbols every day. It's like somebody is knocking on your door, Mr. Market is knocking on your door and telling you the price of your stocks every day, every minute, every second. That turns people from intelligent people to complete idiots. And when they are idiots, it's probably a good time to take those assets off of their hands.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I love the crypto analogy because I feel the same way. It's like, you want me to buy this thing that is intangible, and I mean, what is the value of it? And I've always said that I just don't know how you can value something that doesn't produce cash flow. The difference between, because some, critics say, oh, well, why would you buy a stock? It's a piece of paper. You don't even see it, whatever. But in theory, I am buying, not in theory, in actuality, I'm buying a fraction of a company that produces cash flow. That's the biggest thing. You're buying a company that produces revenue. So I'm buying a piece of something that gives me revenue every month, every day, because customers are buying whatever product it is. Right.
That's right. There's something behind it.
Yeah,
and
there's something
with
behind
crypto,
it. There's a cash flow statement.
Yeah. With crypto, we don't know. We don't know what's behind it. We don't know how to value it. So I don't want to buy something that I have no idea what's behind.
Yeah, and it's not producing cash flow.
Right.
They say, well, the thing about crypto, it's in the blockchain, the transaction is secure. There's only X amount. So it's unlike the US dollar that they keep printing every year. They're saying however much Bitcoin is out there is it. Like, they're never going to make more.
Look, I mean, it's completely ridiculous. One time I made a video because I have a YouTube channel, and I said, how about this? We're going to launch a poop coin. I'm going to poop, 3 times a week. I'm going to put it in, and there's going to be a limited amount of poops that I can create over a lifetime. Does it mean it's valuable just because I can only poop so many times over the year? Like, it's ridiculous. Just because something is limited doesn't mean it's valuable.
Absolutely. Well, hey, this was amazing. I really appreciate your time and your wealth of knowledge. How can people get a hold of you?
Take my impossible to pronounce name, type it into YouTube, and you will find my YouTube channel. And I would suggest start with that, learn from my videos, and then maybe over time, you'll want to do more business with me on other things. Like I wrote 10 books on investing. I have, newsletter / private website, but start with YouTube.
Do you buy any regular stocks like on the NASDAQ and the NYSE? Do you buy, say Apple, Google, Facebook, any of those?
No, no, because everybody knows about those companies already. I'm looking for things that are mispriced. I'm looking for things that are unknown yet. You know, everybody knows about that Apple makes phones. Everybody knows Microsoft, makes this or that. Like, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in things that, are doing great things and people don't know about them yet.
I love that. That's awesome. Any final thoughts before we break?
I would say for me, the greatest thing, the greatest skill, being successful in investing and making money, was to think independently, think for yourself, look at what you're buying versus the value that you're getting versus what you're paying, and don't watch too much media and rely on that, because that's not independent thinking, that's group thinking.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Mariusz. That was awesome. I really appreciate your time. Anything else you want to add?
No, thank you for having me, and good luck to you with your real estate.
Yes, sir. And let me know if you want any $1 million houses in Houston, Texas. I'll take great care of you.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That was awesome. Thank you.
Okay, have a good one.
Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed that. That was a fantastic episode with Mariusz and his strategy of buying undervalued assets and stocks. I hope that you really enjoyed that. Like always, like, comment, share, and let people know about this show. We're going to keep it going, and we'll see you soon. Have a wonderful week.